Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Tuesday Night Edits with me, Andy Gray, an abstract landscape photographer from the northeast of England. I'm here to basically copy what the gamers do on YouTube, do loads of live streaming, chat online, whilst I do what I do, which is make images from intentional camera movement captures, lots of jiggery and pokery in Photoshop, bring them all together to make artwork, if you want to call it that. Quite different to regular photography, but it's what I do. It's what I'm known for. So let's get cracking. A few points of order. Please like, share, and subscribe this stream. It helps getting discovered and boosting up the rankings and things like that. So that'll be very helpful. The other thing is that the chat to one side or the other of the screen is open. So do say hello in there. I am monitoring on the laptop here. So hopefully somebody will say hello, that they can hear me fine, everything's hopefully working. So over the last couple of weeks, the first week was very much a test to see how the technology worked. Do need to discover the technology had let us down a little bit. So last week, in the meantime, had bought a new microphone because the sound in the first one was terrible. So tested a new microphone out last week, seemed to work okay. It also handily blocks out my messy shelves behind me in the screen in the picture here. So well, hopefully we've got a way of working forwards now. Hopefully this will be a weekly show, if you can call it a show. But what did happen the last couple of weeks? Hi John, nice to see you in chat. Do say hello, everybody, if you're in chat. Good to have you along. I can't actually see you at the minute. I can't see how many people are actually watching, but nice to see you in chat there, John. Where was I? Right, in the last couple of weeks, all I've managed to do is make one image in the entire hour. I am trying to keep these within an hour. I know everybody's got lives to lead and etc. So try to keep it as concise as possible. Hi Mark, thank you very much. Good to know I'm coming across loud and clear, which is surprising with my Northumbrian accent. So anyways, must stop getting distracted by the chat. So in the last few weeks, I've made one image. So the intention this week is to not look at myself on the screen too much and look at the damn camera, is to make two images. So a bit of a challenge this week, so I've got to work quickly. So before we get on properly, a couple of shout outs this week. First one is to David Byrne, who I saw on Facebook had made his first vlog. Very. He's a local photographer, just down the road in Amble, or shoots a lot of around Amble. So I presume that's where he's actually from. Don't know whether it's the northern humour thing, but it made me giggle all the way through it. So well done to him. Very talented guy, and good to see him doing his first vlog. So carry on, David. Keep it coming. Another shout out is to the Facebook group, the Landscape Photographers on YouTube UK. I think I've got that right. Great resource for anybody that's interested in doing YouTube to do with landscape photography. So do look that group up. Very handy. Lots of talented vloggers in there and talented photographers. great community. It's a great resource for anybody out there interested in doing anything YouTube related in the landscape photography and in the UK. I think there's a foreign group as well. Oh, sorry, a rest of the world group run by the same guys. Next one was this past week's Togcast. If you don't know the Togcast, go search it out. Excellent podcast, done by Sam Gregory and Paul Sanders. Really enjoyed this past week's episode, which was interviewing, I think, a whole nine photographers that were part of the Vision 9 exhibition down in London a couple of weeks ago. Brilliant episode. Very, very wide range of very talented photographers, way above me. Superb listen, and I've met one or two of them, so it was really nice to see they're getting their turn on the Togcast. And their next episode is actually featuring Benjamin Graham, who was first in this past year's Landscape Photographer of the Year. So I'm looking forward to that one, because really keen to find out the background to his winning image and more of what he does. So I think that's all the shout outs for this week. So we'll move all this rubbish out of the way so I can see my desktop, and we'll get on with doing some image processing. Right then. So I shot a couple of these images from a few weeks ago, when all the daffodils were very much at the peak in the churchyard in the village that I live in. Took a few straight shots, but what I'm actually gonna, this is basically the scene that was in front of me, and obviously using the intentional camera movement techniques, we get all these kind of blurry images, which I'm going to blend together to make new images, which, if you know anything about my work or have seen previous episodes or previous videos on YouTube, you'll know exactly what it's all about. So, as we've already used up 10 minutes of our time, I better get moving. So the challenge is to make 2 images out of these. I've already been through and selected images to possibly use, and even all that, there's 82 images, but I'm just looking to make 2 images in the next hour. So I am also battling quite a slow machine as well. I really quite like that one as the shape. We've got the war memorial there. Quite like the shape of the roof line of the church, and the bell housing up on the top here. Quite nice. I like the movement of the daffodils in here, and it's really just a case of finding a complementary capture to go with it, and I think that might well be one. I'm going to mark these with a 2 to make sure I can find them again. I think it was that one. Yep, that one. Because when I've got them all marked as one, they do seem to get, it's easier to find if you mark them all, so you can find them again. There are obviously different ways of doing it in Lightroom. I just use the star system. So 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 for when it's all pretty much finished. Yeah, I've got that one. So that one's quite nice. So what I'm going to do, that. You can click on the 2 stars along here, and it presents you with all the ones you've marked with 2 stars. So we're going to do a very quick clean up of any dust spots, which no doubt there will be. Visualize spots, and even though I shot this at f7.1, 0.8 seconds, there isn't many dust spots to be seen, to be honest, which makes my job a lot easier. What I will do here, although, is sort out the lens correction, just so the corners, there's not too much of a vignette in the corners. I am also going to use a preset that I have, my own preset which I've developed, which gives me a nice starting point for some of my images. I really need to make more presets for Lightroom to get me moving much quicker. But there's also always some tailoring to do. Get a bit more contrast, a bit more blacks. Generally use small movements on the sliders. Nothing too exuberant. Too much. So remember, this is just the first stage process in Lightroom, because I'll take it into Photoshop and Analog Effects Pro after that for further enhancement. Just notice that changed to Adobe starting, you know, like the new color profiles or image profiles that Adobe brought in at Lightroom a month or so ago. I noticed that was there's quite a difference between the old standard one of that and the new standard color Adobe color profile. There's quite a bit of difference there. I think will actually stay as standard, because I don't want to go over the top, because it will, with all the duplication, it will end up being pretty gold and red and all that kind of color anyway. So obviously, to make this simple, we'll just sync all those changes across those 4 images in one go. No point to individually tweak each image. Yeah, there's nothing too wild about it. They're all made with the same settings, so there shouldn't be anything too bad there. Open those as layers in Photoshop. So computer will take quite a while, because it is encoding all the video at the same time, pushing it out live. So just bear with us while this loads. Would be a lot quicker if it was just one layer, but I'm doing 4. Oh, we're still going. I think we're all loaded up now. Right. We can now check everything's okay on YouTube. Yeah, everything seems to be still got the green go, so things must still be working. Obviously it's all about playing with blend modes. I'm just going to scroll through these blend modes to see how things look. Some are obviously much more useful than others. When you get down to these, it's just rubbish. So on the initial look through, that multiply did look good. So what I'm going to do, I am going to knock these layers out. Start with a base layer and just see how these come together. I know this one is way out of alignment. I'm just wondering if moving it across so it is in line will aid or detract. So not too bad. This one needs to come across a bit. I do try to keep things lined up as I can. It just keeps shapes strong and identifiable. And what I will actually do, I will start masking out some of these to keep things fairly light. So layer mask, just a gradient filter, gradient brush, multiply to do more than one. That's gone the wrong way. I will learn which way is which on these one day. There we are. Keeping the central church darkened up quite nicely. I'm gonna drag the opacity back for that. Yeah. I'm actually going to bring the opacity back for this one as well, just generally all across the image. So yeah, this one looks, that's bringing it down quite dark. So I'm going to bring the opacity, and I'm going to mask out some of this area as well. You've got a lot of dark area down here. This bottom corner, these two bottom corners. So create mask. That's gone the wrong way. You would think I knew what I was doing, but no. I'm going to take it. Actually, going to take that from there, so it's a nicer gradient. We'll go. You won't get that the wrong way around. Right then, I think we're not looking too bad there. Just the final flick through. Yeah. Right. I'm going to give it a levels, curves adjustment. Just going to lighten things up a touch. I'm actually going to mask that out as well, the gradient across there as well, because I'm not wanting to lose too much of the contrast line of the shape of the church. So we'll start on that. The machine is so slow doing everything at once. Right. Decent starting point. Still got plenty of identifiable, I was going to say dandelions there, daffodils. There we go. Some nice colour in the foreground. We can still see the war memorial, trees in the churchyard, and that, that definitive shape of the church. So all looking good there. So we'll have a switch that in Analog Effects Pro to sort some magic out. Whilst I check everything's alright on YouTube. Yep, we've got a few people watching, which is always good. The stream health is good. So yeah, if you're watching, do say hello in the chat. Or if you've got any questions in chat, do stick them in there and I'll try to answer without getting too distracted. As we're already nearly to the half an hour mark, and I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near finishing this image. So hopefully image number 2 is going to be a quickie. As you'll no doubt know, I do have my own presets within Analog Effects Pro, which I built myself, and I use these as starting points for any new image. Sometimes I will build a new one from scratch if nothing's taken my fancy from my presets. To be honest, I'm looking now and there's not much taking me fancy, apart from maybe the autumn fall. Looking quite dark, but I think it's going to lose a lot of detail. Well, a lot of detail, not as much detail in the image anyway. Yeah, not a lot of detail at all. I'm just going to knock off the double exposure bracket. I'm just going to brighten that to start with. Bring that double exposure layer back in. A bit lighter. I'm going to take off the lens vignette to sort out later on. Yes, Mark, it should be automatically added to my channel. So it will be saved. Any live stream will just go straight onto the channel. I will put it in a category, like a playlist of live streams or whatever. So if you have to be away, don't worry. You can catch up with it later on. So yeah, all these live streams are available after the event, if you can call this an event. This is all just playing around with actually the exposure balances. If I start on 50, I'll have a better idea what I'm doing. Just playing around with the positioning to see what, if anything pleasing comes along. You can spin it around so light, the light areas on the second layer can interact with the dark areas of the base layer. Is how this module works. Actually, that looks quite pleasant. I'm liking this darker corner here, the yellows through here, and still, there's the darker definitive shape of the roof line, and you can still see the top of the war memorial. So I'm just going to experiment more on this line, see how things look. I'm quite liking that. It's not a world-changing image, but it's an image. A lot of these images, it's areas of images that catch your eye, rather than the entire finished image. And the area I'm really liking is, say, from this line down here, almost in a square here, which is quite soft and warm. I'm quite liking that out there. Quite liking that. I'm going to play with the balance of the two exposures, see what comes and what goes. Don't want to go too far. Start losing a lot of definition when you go too far. So I think bang in the middle at 50% was good. I'm brightening it a bit. Will that detract, improve, make it worse? This is really what I do all day, is play with sliders. I think this is why I could never be a painter. Canvases and paint don't come with sliders. There we go. Yeah, not too bad there. Bring in the lens vignette to see if I can enhance areas. Make that circular, so it's as small as it'll go. This is really just moving it around the frame. To see how it affects different areas. And I think definitely on the left hand side somewhere. And then there's the strength of it. You can go really heavy, which that doesn't look good. If you try to print that, you can have all these areas that are really, very dead. Maybe they're very flat. There'll be no detail in there. You can also, with this vignette tool, you can invert it. So it goes, so you can lighten the area around it as well. So you can use that as a creative element. So maybe, let's say, -6%, or maybe it's -7 or 8. If I can get the slider to be, yeah, -8. There we go. That's not too bad. I think already I will lighten this area here, just to contrast with these these darker sides, this darker area here, this darker area here. I'm going to lighten this area. So we'll do that in the next stage. Well, that's exporting back to Photoshop. Tony, what do you look for in a finished image, i.e. when do you know when to stop? Well, tonight it's going to be a time constraint, is when I'm going to know when to stop. But like I say, I think once this has gone back into Photoshop, I'm going to lighten a part of it, and then I think we're good to go. I think that's a finished image, and maybe it'll need a slightly creative crop, just so it, maybe it's a square crop or a 4x5. I think as a whole at the moment, I'm not overly happy with the image. Like I say, it's not a world beater by any means. So it's really a case of get this in, brighten that central area, throw it back into Lightroom, play with a few crops, and then we'll go from there. So I think the quickest way I'm going to do this, get rid of that out of the way, is just a new curves layer. I'm going to try and introduce some blue as well. I'm getting, or maybe it's not. I was thinking of getting a bit more blue in this sky there, but it's not. It's going to look too. It's not going to look good at all. Right, so switch that off. You can see how much brighter it is. So using the mask here, I am actually going to just paint. I need to invert that, don't I? I need to invert that mask, however the hell you do that. Invert, there you are. And then using the brush tool, make it big and soft. Bring the opacity 50% and just paint in that area, just to lighten that area. Obviously there's going to be very rough because the machine is very laggy. So I'm clicking it and about a second later it's rendering it, which isn't good for trying to do any kind of brush stroke. And maybe there's one or two more clicks in this area there. Yeah, I think that'll do. We'll save that, which will send it back into Lightroom. We'll wait about 5 minutes for that to save. John, what are your average exposure times when you're taking the original images? Well, before they built this image up, they were 0.8 seconds. It was an f7.1 aperture at ISO 100. It was in the evening, so it was getting, the light was fading. I'm not out of fractions. I'm not sure what 0.8 seconds is, but I do tend to capture. My range is from 1/5 of a second through to, depending on how dark it is, or time of the evening, or time of the morning, or whatever, through to, I suppose I've gone as long as 5 seconds. It really just depends on the lighting conditions and the type of image you want to capture. Do you want small movements or very very wild movements? So there's not a lot of detail. I will do a mix, and I'll do a few keeping the camera fairly still, and I'll take a few doing it very wildly, just so I've got the option of bring in another layer that's got a bit of detail. I could have, in this image, I could have brought in an image like a capture that's got some window detail in, so you can actually see where the windows are. So I think I probably did capture something like that. But had I wanted some detail in there as a creative choice, then that's what I've got the option there. So when I'm taking it, I will do a variation. Right, so let's shut that down. That's in Lightroom now. So Lightroom, back into the Develop tab, and crops. Like I say, it's that area I am quite liking. The one problem is it doesn't have the, you've got to move it across. I'm liking the framing of this tree here, and the framing of the daffodils against the grass. But we've just, on a square crop, we've just slightly ran out of space. So we'll maybe go to a 4x5, keep that left hand edge, and that's, you maybe take a sliver off the bottom. One thing I do is I try to keep, probably 99% of the time, I keep the standard aspect ratios, just because it's easier for printing and framing. I see a lot of people, adjusting the crops freehand, anything, and where it's going to be a pain in the backside for any client if they're going to frame it, because it's not going to fit in the standard frame. They're always going to have to be buying custom things. So even this 2x3 is not looking too bad. Just move it around, experiment, see what looks good. There's no wrong, right or wrong. It's all personal choice. I think I'm pretty good with that. Right then, I think we've got image number 1. Give that a 3 so I can find it later on. And these ones I'm going to knock back to 1s so I don't confuse myself for the next image. Right then, this is extremely slow. Alright then, so we've made an image from that angle of the church. As you can see, I took a slightly different from what I was saying before. Took a more static image, so had I wanted detail of these windows, I could have brought them in to overlay, even if it was just masking in just that area. There's all the options there. So hopefully that's answered that point, John. Hopefully that's helpful. Just gonna have a quick flick through here to remind myself what I actually had to play with. These are from the western end of the church. Well, these ones anyway. I've made a few images from this view before and published them. These are more from slightly further around from where I was before. Some of them, when I looked through, I did like, but now I'm looking through them, I'm not too sure. I think that one even attracted to it. It was very abstract, church shapes completely disintegrated there, just like the Church of England. So I quite like that one. I am going to give that a 2. This one's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot lighter image. I'll pick these two light ones, and probably that one. So we'll select all those, back into the develop module. Ooh, quite like that one. My secret starter source preset. No. Right. I am going to get rid of that vignette. Quite liking the blues in this, or turquoisey blues. But what I need to do is bring the shadows up, bring the highlights up, because I want that really light. Alright Mark, good to see you, good to have you along. You can catch up later on, see how this second one ended up. Clean up this dust spot, just the one thankfully. Makes it easier. Just check the detail because I'm going to wipe out. Noise reduction is quite high to keep the ISO clean. Yeah, all good, all good, all good. And I'm going to sync those across all those images and bring them into Lightroom, into Photoshop. And see how these blend. So we're on a quarter of an hour left. This is going to have to be a quick one. Maybe I should allow myself extra for the slow machine that I'm working on, because yeah, it's working hard to keep up. Nearly there, over there, and I think we're all loaded up. Right, same as before, and I think is soft light going to be an option? No, it's not quite as what I thought it might do. Darken, multiply. It's nice. Actually, multiply might be the one that works again. What lighten's like? Lighten's just far too random. Multiply, but take out a lot of this dark area again. Maybe it's even that whole bottom base exposure. Oh. Taking the wrong one out. Yeah, mask this out. Just a simple one. Done it again. I've done it again because I reversed the bloody colour. Ooh, so annoying. You would think it would know what I meant. That's not too bad actually. Not to multiply, so I can do more than one grad. Bring that in there, and I'm actually on there. I'm going to paint in some of that back. No, it's the wrong colour. I'll switch that over to white. I'm going to paint some more of that back in. Right, okay. Let the computer catch up. Processing. Right then, and any tweaks? One trick I can show you here is create a new layer, and to colorize an image fully, or color it in one color. Say a nice browny orange. Make a new layer. Color fill tool. Fill a layer with that, and blend mode hue. And then that will, all the color in the image will be changed to that layer's color. So obviously the blues turned orange, and all the greens here have turned orange. And then you obviously can use your opacity sliders to alter, that. So you can do your grad filters again. All I was thinking of that was that orange at the base is better, but I'm not going to use it because I end up doing everything orange. So we'll just file that into After Effects. See what it spits out this time. In about half an hour by the time it's finished loading up. Stream health still good, which is good. Means my connection's holding out. My computer hasn't fallen over completely yet. I'll move that across so I can see what's going on. And again, it is just an initial look through my presets. These are going to be lighter, obviously. It's a lighter image, and it all depends on how the second exposure is rotated. So a lot of these look, in this case, it's a case of look at color and tone, and then later on look at turning it around again. So I am looking for something. I'm wanting to look for something quite minimal or not. Let's see what Autumn Falls look like. Autumn Falls seems to be one I'll go back to a lot. Maybe it's because it's darker. That's probably too dark. I mean, see what something really watercolor, like a watercolor. See what that might look like. That's a very faded watercolor, that. I quite like the look of it, but I think it's a bit too minimal, to be honest. There's just not quite enough showing. Whereas that's starting to bring back. bring back just enough of the shape of the church there. It's still, this is, you know, you get an image like this, you start thinking about how commercially viable an image like this is, because you think, well, it's, you know, a lot of this work you do need to have a bit of an imagination or a bit of an appreciation of the technique to see the image there. I really like the muted tones. I like the aged feel of it. And I think I'm going to have to bring the exposure balance further across. Contrast quite high there. Try and knock the brightness up to see if that makes. Maybe even taking it too far. Bring the brightness down. That's better. There's a bit more definition there. So maybe if that's -5. Yeah, you've still got the bell housing, the ridge lines. We're thinking of impressionism here. Is it impressionism the right one? The essence of something rather than what's actually there. Just hints of things. So I think we're good with that. Lens vignette, what was that doing? See, lens vignette, that depends on where it's actually located. It's quite a strong one. Remember, the original image was very light in this area. So if I bring that lightness back, make it a bit bigger. It's not looking too bad. And that, to me, that's. I'm trying to think. It's like a church on a hill. Is the impression I'm getting now, kind of. Let's have a look at these film type effects. Yeah, maybe not, with a bit more contrast, because the faded effect had seemed to have wiped out some of the detail. Strength's fine. Levels and curves, I'll knock that out, see what did we have beforehand. Yeah. I think I'll bring the bottom of that curve down to give us a bit more depth. Take that end up to brighten the highlights a bit. Drop an S in the bottom S of this curve. This maybe is a bit too much. Yeah. I think we're good there. Right, okay. Calling that an image. Well, not quite an image, but nearly there. Hopefully this isn't going to take too much longer to render. We are now just about hitting the hour mark. So once this one's back into Photoshop, I think there might be a marginal colour tweak to do. Back to Lightroom, and I think this one is going to need maybe like almost a panoramic crop is what I'm thinking straight off the top of my head. You know, losing a fair bit of this bottom area. It's either losing it, you know, cutting it all off, or highlighting it. So another like a 4x5 crop, even possibly even, you know, a vertical one to highlight as if it's, you know, you're looking up a hill towards it. Right, so that's Lightroom, and I don't want to load anything else in there. I just want a marginal color tweak and play with the hues. Trying not to bring in reds. No, forget it. Don't think it's gonna work. Switch it off. Oh, tried to drag that to the bin, but didn't. Try curve. No, I'm overdoing it. It's good as it is. Yeah, good as it is. Right, back to Lightroom. So save that. Wait for it to load in, or save, and then switch back to Lightroom. Watch go mad. Very sorry about this taking so long. It is just an old underpowered desktop machine, which does me fine, to be honest. But I think it processing HD video and trying to load things and save things isn't helping it. Right then, so I mentioned crops. What I'm going to do, give that 3 stars so I know it's a finished one, and I'm going to create a virtual copy. So for each crop I'm going to create a virtual copy, and then I can flick between the few of them. So there's a square crop, church on the top of a hill. Not sure if it works at all, to be honest. A 2x1 crop. See what I was on about, wanting to crop out this area at the bottom. I'm thinking I actually quite like that area at the bottom. I do use a 9x5 crop as well, a lot. So with that, I get to keep that, and you know, so the you know, that top spire type thing, little ornament or whatever you want to call it, on the end of the roof line. If that's at the very top of the frame, or maybe even going through the top of it. I'm quite liking that composition. Yes, there's a lot of space, but I am trying to you know, make the feeling that you actually, you know, you're looking up a hill or something of that nature. I'm going to do any colour tweaks in here. Now I'm just playing on actually that slight tint towards the magenta. It's giving it quite a nice look. Let's try a radial filter, maybe just on this area. I'll use any trick that will get me close to what I want. Just make sure that's going the right way. So clarity, boost the clarity, just to give me more edge on these shapes. And slightly to the right of with the dehaze slider. Bring me a bit of black in there. Have a highlight. No highlight. Actually, I'm going to do a new one. That new one's going to be all up there. That's mixing. Adding that yellow is starting to mix with the one behind, and it's made it very horrible green there. Not liking that. Right. Unless I go there, bring in magenta, and that might kill it. No. Oh, it's like painting. Bloody awful. Right. Knock that highlight out of that. Knock that added exposure out. Bring that down. Done. Must stop working on it. Yeah, I think we're there. I'm calling that a finished image. So I'll go full screen and show it. No, it's not. I thought if I did a full screen you might be able to see it properly. But it doesn't show that extra layer of the program. So you'll just have to see the post after. So anyways, thank you very much for watching today. It's been a pleasure to have you along. If you've sat through the whole lot, congratulations to you. You do deserve a medal. I think I might deserve a medal for actually producing 2 images tonight rather than just the singular one. Do keep an eye out on my social media streams, so you can get a better look of the two images I've created tonight. If you've enjoyed the video, please do like it and share it on whatever platform that you're on. Please share it there. Subscribe if you haven't. Do hit the bell icon as well, so you're kept up to date with everything that's going on. As I said before, it's been a pleasure to have you along. You can find us elsewhere online on the links to the right there. Basically, it's at Andrew S. Gray on pretty much everything that deals in that style of identification. Fully intending on doing episode 4 next Tuesday, but also hoping that I'll have my car back shortly, and then I'll be out and be able to make vlogs again, or making vlogs that aren't actually just purely in the village or in the fields around the house. So hopefully I'll get a little bit further afield. So thank you again for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've picked a few tips up and learned a little bit, or developed an appreciation for the style. I very much enjoy making these images, much more than the traditional style of landscape photography that we all start on. So yeah, thanks for coming along. So until next time, I can't say bye for now because that's somebody else's phrase. So until the next time, see ya.